saying Iopian 901 and Iopian twice saying, the prey that was sought has fallen into our toils. Let the joyous lover present my lines with the verdant palm, to Hesiod the Ascrean and to Homer the Meonian old man shall I be preferred. Such did the stranger son of Priam set his whitening sails from the armed Amyclae, 902 together with the ravished wife. Such was he who bore thee, Hippodamia, in his victorious chariot, carried by the wheels of the stranger. Why hasten then, young man? Thy ship is sailing in the midst of the waves, and far distant is the harbor for which I make. It is not enough, me your poet, for the fair to be gained by you. Through my skill has she been acquired, through my skill must she be retained. 'Tis no less merit to keep what is acquired, than to gain it. In the former there is some chance, in the latter will be a work of art. Now, if ever, boy Cupid in Cytherea, be propitious to me, now, Erato, 903 for thou hast a name from love. Great attempts do I contemplate, to tell by what means love can be arrested, the boy that wanders over the world so wide. He is both inconstant, and he has two wings with which to fly. 'Tis an arduous task to impose laws on these. Minos had obstructed all means of escape to the stranger. He discovered a bold path 904 with his wings. When Daedalus had enclosed the man half-bull, and the bull half-man, that was conceived in the criminality of his mother, he said, Most just Minos, let there be a termination of my exile, and let my paternal land receive my ashes. And since, harassed by the cruel destinies, I cannot live in my country, let me be enabled to die. If the merits of an old man are but small, grant a return to this boy. If thou art unwilling to favor the boy, then favor the old man. This he said, but both this and many more things he might have said, the other did not permit a return to the hero. Soon as he saw this, he said, Now, Daedalus, thou hast a subject, upon which thou mayst prove ingenious. Lo! Minos possesses the land, and he possesses the ocean, neither earth nor water is open for our escape, there remains a path through the heavens will we attempt to go. Jupiter on high, grant pardon to my design. I do not aim to reach the starry abodes, there is no way but this one, by which I may escape the tyrant. Should a road through Styx be granted, then we will swim through the Stygian waves, let the laws of nature be changed by me. Misfortunes often sharpen the genius, who could have ever believed, that a mortal could attempt the paths of the air? He arranges swift feathers in order, like oars, 905 and connects the light work with fastenings of thread. The lower part, too, is bound together with wax, melted by the fire, and now the work of the new contrivance is finished. The smiling boy handles both the wax and the feathers, not knowing that these instruments are prepared for his own shoulders. To him his father says, With these ships must we reach our native land, by these means must we escape from Minos. The air Minos could not, all else he has, shut against us. Cleave the air, which still thou mayst, with these my inventions. But neither the Virgin of Tegea, nor the sword-bearing Orion, 906 the companion of Boötes, will have to be beheld by thee. Follow me with the wings given to thee, I will go before on the way. Be it thy care to follow, me thy leader, thou wilt be safe. But if we shall go through the air of the heavens, the sun close to us, the wax will not be able to endure the heat. If we shall wave our wings below, the sea near to us, the fluttering feathers will be wet with the ocean spray. Fly between them both, dread, too, the winds, my son, and whichever way the breezes shall blow, set thy prospering sails. While he thus advises, he fits his work onto the boy, and shows how it is to be moved, just as their mother teaches the helpless birds. Then he places upon his shoulders the wings made for himself, and with timidity he poises his body along this new track. And now about to fly, he gives kisses to his little son, and the cheeks of the father do not withhold their tears. There is a hill, less than a mountain, more lofty than the level plain, hence are their two bodies entrusted to their mournful flight. Daedalus both moves his own wings himself, and looks back on those of his son, and he ever keeps on his own course. And now this unusual path delights him, and, fear laid aside, Icarus flies more courageously with emboldened skill. A person sees them, while he is angling 907 for fish with his quivering rod, and his right hand desists from the work he has commenced. Now Samos and Naxos had been left behind, on the left hand, and Paros, and Delos beloved by the clarion god. 908 Lebynthos was to the right, and Callan 909 shaded with its woods, and Astypolea 910 surrounded with its fishy shallows, when the boy, too venturesome in his inconsiderate daring, took a higher flight, and forsook his guide. The fastenings give way, and the wax melts, the divinity being so near, and his arms, when moved, no longer catch the light breeze. Alarmed, he looks down upon the sea from the lofty heavens. Darkness, arising from trembling apprehension, comes over his eyes. The wax has now melted, he waves his bare arms, and he trembles, and has no means whereby to be supported. Downward he falls, and as he falls, he cries, "Father! O Father! I am undone!" As he spoke, the azure waves closed his mouth. But the unhappy father, a father now no longer, cried aloud, "Icarus, where art thou? Or under what part of the sky dost thou fly?" Icarus, again he cried aloud, his feathers he beheld in the waves. The dry land covers his bones, the sea retains his name. Minos could not restrain the wings of a mortal. I myself am attempting to arrest a winged divinity. If anyone has recourse to the Haemonian arts, and gives that which he has torn from the forehead of the young horse, 911 he is mistaken. The herbs of Medea will not cause love to endure, nor yet the Marsian spells 912 mingled with the magic notes. The Phasian damsel would have retained the son of Aeson, Circe Ulysses, if love could only have been preserved through incantations. Philters, too, causing paleness, 913 are of no use when administered to the fair. Philters injure the intellect, and have a maddening effect. Afar be all criminal attempts, to be loved, be worthy to be loved, a property which comeliness, or beauty alone, will not confer upon you. Though you should be Nereus, 914 be praised by ancient Homer, and the charming Hylas, 915 carried off by the criminality of the Naiads, that you may retain your mistress, and not have to wonder that you are deserted, add the endowments of the mind to the advantages of the person. Beauty is a fleeting advantage, and the more it increases in years, the less it becomes, and, itself, is consumed by length of time. Neither the violets nor the opening lilies bloom forever, and, the rose is lost, the thorny bush is prickly left behind. And, handsome man, soon shall come to you the hoary locks, soon shall come the wrinkles, to furrow your body over. Now form a disposition which may be lasting, and add it to your beauty, that alone endures to the closing pile. And be it no light care to cultivate the mind with the liberal arts, and to learn thoroughly the two languages, the Latin and the Greek. Ulysses was not handsome, but he was fluent, and yet with love he racked the ocean goddesses. 916 How oft did Calypso grieve at his hastening to depart, and declare that the waves were not favorable to his oars. Again and again did she inquire into the catastrophe of Troy. Often in another manner was he wont to repeat the same thing. On the shore they were standing, even there did the beauteous Calypso inquire about the blood-stained death of the Odrysian chief. With a little stick, for by chance he was holding a stick, he depicted on the firm shore the subject on which she was inquiring. "This is Troy," said he, and the walls he drew on the shore. "This must be Simois for thee, and suppose these to be my tents." There was a plain, and here he drew the plain, which we moistened with the blood of Dolon, 917 while, as a spy, he was longing for the Haemonian horses. 918 There were the tents of the Sithonian Rhesus, in this direction was I borne back again by the captured steeds. And many other things was he depicting, when the waves suddenly carried off both Pergamus and the tents of Rhesus together with their chief. Then the goddess said, "Dost thou behold how famous names these waves have swept away, which thou dost trust will be favorable to thee about to depart? Come then, with hesitation, feel confidence in beauty so deceiving, whoever you are, or else possess something of more value than comeliness. A beseeming courtesy especially enlists the feelings, rudeness and harsh language promote hatred. We dislike the hawk, because it is always living in warfare, the wolves too, that are wont to rush upon the startled flocks. But the swallow, because it is gentle, is exempt from the snares of men, and the chounian bird 919 has the turrets for it to inhabit. Afar lie all strife and contentions of the abusive tongue, with sweet words must gentle love be cherished. With strife let both wives persecute their husbands, and husbands their wives, and, each in their turn, let them ever be thinking that they must resort to law. 920 This is the part of wives, strife is the dowry of the wife. Let the mistress ever hear the accents that she longs for. At the bidding of no law have you come to live together, in your case 'tis love that performs the duties of the law. Bring soft caresses, and words that delight the ear, that she may ever be joyous at your approach. I do not come as the instructor of the wealthy in love, he who makes presents has no need of my experience. He who says, whenever he pleases, accept this, has a genius of his own. To him do I yield, he has greater attractions than have any discoveries of mine. I am the instructor of the poor, because, as a poor man, I have been in love. When I could not give presents, I gave verses. 921 Let the poor man love with caution, let the poor man stand in fear of bad language, and let him put up with many a thing, not to be endured by the rich. I remember that once, when in a rage, I disarranged the hair of my mistress, of how many a day did that anger deprive me? I do not think I did, and I did not see that I had torn her tunic, but she said so, and at my cost it was replaced. But you who are wise, avoid the errors of your instructor, and stand in awe of the punishment of my transgressions. Let battles be with the Parthians, but be their peace with your refined mistress, mirth too, and whatever besides contains a reason for love. If she is not sufficiently kind or affable to you her lover, have patience, and bear it, after a time she will be softened. By giving way the supple branches bent from the tree, if you make trial of your strength, you break it. By giving way the waves are swam across, but you cannot overcome the stream if you swim against the flood which the tide carries down. 'Tis yielding that subdues the tigers and the Numidian lions. By degrees only does the bull submit to the rustic plough. What was there more coy than Atlanta of Nona Chris? 922 Yet, untamed as she was, she yielded to the deserving qualities of a man. They say that many a time, beneath the trees, Milanion wept at his mishaps, and the unkind conduct of the fair one. Full oft on his neck, as ordered, did he bear the treacherous toils, full oft with his cruel spear did he transfix the savage boars. Wounded, too, he experienced the stretched bow of Hylias, 923 but yet there was another bow still more felt than this. I do not bid you, in arms, to climb the woods of Maenalus, and I do not bid you to carry the toils upon your neck. Nor yet do I bid you to expose your breast to the discharged arrows. The requirements of my skill will be but light to the careful man. Yield to her when opposing, by yielding, you will come off victorious. Only take care to perform the part which she shall bid you. What she blames, do you blame, whatever she approves, do you approve, what she says, do you say, what she denies, do you deny. Does she smile, do you smile, if she weeps, do you remember to weep? Let her prescribe the law for the regulation of your features. If she plays, and throws the ivory cubes 924 with her hand, do you throw unsuccessfully, do you make bad moves 925 to the throws, or if you were throwing 926 the dice, let not the penalty attend upon her losing. Take care that losing throws often befall yourself. If your piece is moving at the game that imitates 927 the tactics of war, take care that your man falls before his enemy of glass. Do you yourself hold the screen 928 stretched out by its ribs? Do you make room in the crowd the way that she is going? And do not delay to place the footstool before the tasteful couch 929 and take off or put on the sandals for her delicate feet. Often, too, must the hand of your mistress, when cold, be made warm in your bosom, though you yourself should shiver in consequence. And think it no disgrace, although it should be a disgrace to you, still it will give pleasure, to hold the looking-glass 930 with the hand of a freeborn man. He who, by killing the monsters of his wearied stepmother, earned those heavens which before he had supported, is believed, amid the Ionian girls, to have held the workbasket, 931 and to have wrought the rough wool. The Tyrinthian hero was obedient to the commands of his mistress. Go then, and hesitate to endure what he submitted to. When bidden to come to the forum, take care always to be there before the appointed time, and do not go away until a late hour. Does she appoint to meet you at any place, put off everything else, run quickly, and let not the crowd stop your purposed route. Is she returning home at night, after having been at a feast, then, too, if she calls, come to her as though a servant. 932 If you are in the country and she says, come, love hates the tardy, if a vehicle 933 is not at hand, go your journey on foot. Let neither bad weather nor the parchang dogstar detain you, nor the road made white with the snow that lies there. Love is a kind of warfare, cowards, avaunt! These are not the standards to be defended by timid men. In this tender warfare, night, and wintry storms, and long journeys, and cruel pain, and every kind of toil, have their part. Many a time will you have to endure the rain pouring from the clouds of heaven, cold and on the bare ground full oft will you lie. Cynthius 934 said to have fed the cows of Admetus of Phaerae, and to have lived in an humble cottage. What was becoming to Phoebus, to whom is it not becoming? Away with all conceit, whoever you are, who have a care for a lasting passion. If access is denied you by a safe and smooth path, and if her door shall be fastened by the bar put up, then, do you slip straight down through the open roof 935 Let the high window, 936 2, present a secret passage. She will be pleased when she knows that she has proved the cause of risk to you. This will be to your mistress a pledge of your unvarying love. Full oft, Leander, couldst thou have done without thy mistress, that she might know thy passion, thou didst swim across. And be not ashamed to make her handmaids, as each one is superior in rank, nor yet her male servants, entirely your own. Salute them each by name, there will be nothing thrown away, press their humble hands, proud lover, with your own. Moreover, the expense is but trifling, give to the servant who asks, some little present from your means. Make a present, too, to the handmaid, on the day on which 937 the Gallic army, deceived by the garments of the matrons, received retribution. Follow my advice, and make the lower classes 938 your own, in that number let there always be the porter, and him who lies before the door of her chamber. And I do not bid you present to your mistress any costly gift, give her moderate ones, but, in your discrimination, well selected from those that are moderate. While the country is abundantly rich in produce, while the branches are bending beneath their load, let the boy bring your gifts from the country in his basket. You may say that they have been sent by you from your suburban retreat, although they may have been bought even in the sacred street. 939 Let him carry either grapes, or what Amaryllis was so fond of, 940 But, at the present day, she is fond of chestnuts no longer. And, besides, both with a thrush and a pigeon, 941 sent as a present, you may show how attentive you are to your mistress. By these means 942 are the expectations of death, and solitary old age, disgracefully made matter of purchase. Oh! May they perish through whom gifts promote criminal objects. Why should I recommend you to send tender lines as well? Alas! Poetry does not 943 gain much honor. Verses are praised, but 'tis costly gifts that are sought. If he is only rich, 944 a very barbarian is pleasing. Truly is this the golden age, the greatest honors accrue through gold, love is purchased with gold. Though thou thyself, Homer, shouldst come, attended by the Muses, if thou shouldst bring nothing with thee, thou wouldst be turned out of doors. And yet there are the learned fair, a very limited number, another set are not learned, but they wish to be so. Both kinds may be praised in verse, the reader may set off the lines of whatever quality by a melodious voice. Indeed, a poem, carefully composed in their honor, will be to these or to those, as good, perhaps, as a little present. But take care that whatever you are about to do of your own accord and consider convenient, your mistress shall always first ask that of you. Has freedom been promised to any one of your slaves, still cause him to make a request for it of your mistress. If you forgive punishment and cruel fetters to your slave, let her be indebted to you for what you were about to do. Let the advantage be your own, let the credit be given to your mistress. Suffer no loss yourself, and let her act the part of the person in power. But whosoever you are who have a care to retain the fair, cause her to believe that you are enchanted with her beauty. If she is in Tyrian costume, praise the dress of Tyrian hue. 945. If she is in that of Kos. 946. Consider the cone habit as becoming. Is she arrayed in gold? Let her be more precious in your eyes than gold itself. If she wears a dress of felt. 947. Praise the felt dress that she wears. Does she stand before you in her tunic? Exclaim, you are setting me on fire. 948. But entreat her, with a voice of anxiety, to beware of the cold. Is the parting of her hair nicely arranged? Praise the parting of it. Has she curled her hair by aid of the fire? Curled locks, do you prove the attraction? As she dances, admire her arms, her voice as she sings, and use the words of one complaining because she is left off. Her very embraces. 949. You may commend, on the points that please yourself, and with murmuring accents you may signify your delight. Though she be more fierce than the grim Medusa, to her lovers she will become gentle and kind. Only, take you care that you be not discovered to be a deceiver in these expressions, and by your looks do not contradict your words. If devices are concealed, they are of use. When discovered, they cause shame, and deservedly remove confidence for all future time. Often, at the approach of autumn, when the year is most beauteous, and the filled grape is growing red with its purple juice, at the time when at one moment we are chilled with cold, at another we are melted with heat, through the varying temperature a languor takes possession of the body. She, indeed, may be in good health, but if, through illness she keeps her bed, and, ailing, feels the bad effects of the weather, then let your love and affection be proved to the fair, then so, that hereafter with the sickle of abundance you may reap. Let no disgust at her malady, that renders her so cross, come upon you, by your hands too. Let whatever she will permit, be done. And let her see you as you weep, and be not tired of giving her kisses, and with her parched lips let her dry up your tears. Make many a vow for her cure, but all before her, and as often as she will permit, be seeing pleasant visions to tell her of. Let the old woman come. 952, to purify her couch and chamber, and in her palsied hand let her carry before her the sulphur and the eggs. In all these things there will be traces of a pleasing attention, for many a one has this road proved a path to another man's will. But still, let not loathing on the part of the sick fair be the result of your officiousness, let there be certain limits shown in your careful attentiveness. Do not you forbid her food, nor administer the cups with the bitter draught, let your rival mingle those. But when you have gained the open sea, you must not use the breeze to which you set your sails from off the shore. While love is wandering in his youth, let him gain strength by habit. If you nurse him well, in time he will be strong. Him that you fear as a bull, as a calf you were wont to pat, the tree under which you are now reclining, was once a twig. A river at its rise is small, but it acquires strength in its course, and where it runs, it now receives many a stream. Make her become used to you. There is nothing more powerful than habit. While you are courting her, avoid no amount of trouble. Let her be always seeing you, let her be always lending ear to you, let both night and day show your countenance. When you have a greater confidence that you may be missed, then, destined to be her care when absent, go away to a distance. Give yourself some repose. The land that has lain fallow gives back in abundance what has been entrusted to it, and the dry ground sucks up the water of the heavens. Demophoon, when present, inflamed Phyllis in a less degree. When he had set sail, more violently did she burn. The crafty Ulysses, by his absence, tortured Penelope. Far away, tearful Laodamia, was thy hero of Phylace. But a short respite alone is safe. In time, cares become modified, and the absent love decays and a new one makes its entrance. While Menelaus was absent, Helen, that she might not lie alone, was received at night into the warm bosom of his guest. What meant, Menelaus, this stupidity of thine? Thou didst go away alone, under the same roof were both the stranger and thy wife. And dost thou entrust, madman, the timid doves to the hawk? Dost thou entrust the well-filled sheepfold to the mountain wolf? Helen commits no sin, this paramour of hers does no wrong, he does what anyone, would do. Thou dost persuade them to adultery, by giving both time and opportunity. What advice, but thine own, has the fair made use of? What is she to do? Her husband is away, and a guest, no repulsive person, is present, and she is afraid to sleep alone in an empty couch. Let the son of Atreus think better of it. I acquit Helen of criminality, she made use of the opportunity given by an easy husband. But neither is the tawny boar so fierce in the midst of his rage, when he hurls the furious dogs with the lightning shock of his tusks, nor the lioness, when she is giving the breast to her sucking whelps, nor the little viper, when enhired by the heedless foot, as the woman, who is furious on detecting the rival of her nuptial couch, and bears on her features the proofs of her feelings. To the sword into flames does she resort, and, shame laid aside, onward she is impelled, as though struck by the horns of the Aeonian god. The barbarian fair one of Phasis avenged the fault of her husband, and the violated rights of a wife, by the death of her sons. See, how another cruel parent, 'tis the swallow that you behold, has her breast stained with blood. 'Tis this breaks those attachments that are firmly united, those of long duration, these faults must then be guarded against by cautious men. But still, my judgment does not condemn you to one fair alone. The gods forbid. Hardly can the married woman adhere to this. Disport yourself, but let your faultiness be concealed by a decent stealthiness. No glory must be sought in one's own delinquency. And do you give no present of which the other may know, nor be there any stated times for your intriguing? And, lest the fair one should catch you in the retreats so well known to her, all must not be met in the same place of rendezvous. And, as often as you shall be writing, do you first examine the whole of the tablet. Many a woman reads more than what has been sent to her. A slighted passion brandishes the arms of retribution, and hurls back the weapon, and causes yourself to complain of that of which it complains so lately. So long as the son of Atreus was content with one woman, she, too, was chaste. Through the fault of her husband did she become culpable. She had heard how that Chryses, bearing in his hand the laurel and the fillets, had not prevailed in behalf of his daughter. She had heard, too, ravished one of Lyrnessus, of thy sorrows, and how the warfare had been protracted through disgraceful delays. Still, these things she had only heard of. The daughter of Priam, herself, she had seen. Thou, the conqueror, wast the disgraced captive of thy own captive. Then did she receive the son of Thyestes, both into her chamber and her affections, and the daughter of Tyndarus avenged herself on a husband so deeply criminal. Your actions, which you have studiously concealed, if perchance any of them are discovered, although they should be notorious, still do you always deny them. On such occasions, do you neither be subdued, nor more kind than usual. That bears the marks of a mind that has too deeply offended. Still, spare not any endearments on your side. Peace is entirely centered in caresses alone, by these must the former intrigue be disavowed. There are some who would recommend you to use injurious herbs, such as savory. In my opinion they are so many poisons. Or else, they mingle pepper with the seed of the stinging nettle, 952, and the yellow chamomile pounded in old wine. But the goddess, whom the lofty Eryx receives beneath his shady hill, does not allow us to be impelled in such manner to her delights. The white onion 953 which is sent from the Pelasgian city of Alcathous, 954, and the salacious herbs which come out of the gardens, and eggs may be eaten, the honey of Hymettus may be eaten, and the nuts which the pine tree with its sharp leaves produces. Why, learned Erato, art thou thus diverging into the medical art? The inner side of the turning place must be grazed by my chariot. You, who just now were, by my recommendation, to conceal your delinquencies, change your course, and, by my advice, disclose your intrigues. Nor yet is any inconsistency of mine to be censured. The curving ship does not always carry those on board with the same breezes. For sometimes we run with the Thracian Boreas, sometimes with the east wind. Full aft does the canvas swell with the zephyrs, with the south wind full aft. See how, in the chariot, the driver, at one moment, gives the flowing rein, at another, skillfully checks the horses in full career. There are some, with whom an anxious obsequiousness is ruinous, and if there is no rival existing, then their passion waxes faint. The feelings often run riot amid prosperity, and to bear good fortune with equanimity is no easy task. As the declining fire, its strength consuming by degrees, itself lies concealed, and the ashes become white over the surface of the fire, but still, when sulfur is applied, it finds the flames that were extinguished, and the light returns which existed before. So, when the feelings, sluggish through repose, and free from care, become torpid, by sharp stimulants must love be aroused. Make her to be jealous on your account, and rekindle her deadened feelings. Let her turn pale at the proof of your inconstancy. Oh, for times blessed, and so oft, that it is not possible to limit it to numbers, is that man, on whose account the slighted fair is in grief. Who, soon as the charge has reached her unwilling ears, faints away, and both her voice and color leave the sorrowing fair. Would that I were he, whose locks she tears in her fury, would that I were he, whose tender cheeks she tears with her nails, whom she looks upon bursting into tears, whom she beholds with scowling eyes, without whom she cannot exist, but still wishes that she could. If you inquire as to its duration, let the time be short for her to complain of her injuries, lest her anger may acquire strength in the slowly passing lapse of time. And now let her fair neck be encircled in your arms, and as she weeps, she must be received in your bosom. Give her kisses as she weeps, bestow her caresses as she weeps. Peace will ensue, by this method alone is anger appeased. When she has been passionately raving, when she shall seem to be an assured enemy, then seek your treaty of peace and caresses, she will then be pacified. For 'tis there that concord dwells, all arms laid aside, 'tis in that spot, believe me, that the graces were born. The doves which fought the moment before, are now billing, their cooing has the meaning of caresses, and of words. At first 955 there was a confused mass of things without arrangement, and the stars, the earth, and the ocean, were but of one appearance. Afterwards, the heavens were placed above the earth, the land was surrounded by the sea, and the confused chaos was divided into its elements. The woods received the beasts, the air the birds as its possession, in the flowing waters, fishes were concealed. At that time the human race wandered in the solitary woods, and it consisted of nothing but brute force, and a mind quite uninformed. The woods were their houses, grass their food, and leaves their beds, and for a long time the one was unknown to the other. Voluptuous pleasure is said to have been the first to soften their rude dispositions. Afterwards, the woman and the man settled in the same spot. What should they do? They had been instructed by no preceptor. Venus completed this delightful task without any art. The bird has an object to love, the female fish finds in the midst of the waters an object with which to share her joys. The hind follows her mate, the serpent couples with the serpent, the bitch, too, consorts with the dog. The delighted sheep unites with the ram, the heifer, also, is pleased with the bull, the fiat-nosed she-goat, too, receives her unclean mate. 956 mares are driven to frenzy, and follow the horses, separated by streams, over places far distant from each other in situation. Come, then, and give an efficacious remedy to the angered fair. 'Tis that alone that puts an end to violent grief. 'Tis that remedy which excels the potions of Machaon. 957 through that, when you have offended, you will have to be reinstated. While I was thus singing, Apollo, suddenly appearing, touched with his thumb the strings of his lyre inlaid with gold. In his hands there was a laurel, placed on his holy locks there was a laurel, visible as a poet he came. 958 Thou instructor in wanton love, says he, come, lead thy pupils to my temples. There is there a sentence celebrated in fame over the universal world, which bids each one to know himself. 959 He who shall be known to himself, will alone love with prudence, and will proportion every task to his strength. He to whom nature has given beauty, for that let him be admired. He who has a fair complexion, let him often lie down with a shoulder exposed. He who charms with his discourse, let him break the quietude of silence. He who sings with skill, let him sing. He who drinks with elegance, 960 let him drink. But in the middle of a conversation, neither let those who are eloquent declaim, and let not the insane poet be reciting his own compositions. Thus Phoebus recommended. Observe this recommendation of Phoebus. There is full confidence in the hallowed lips of this divinity. I am now called to my more immediate subject. Whoever shall love with prudence, he will prove successful, and will obtain from my skill what he shall require. The furrows do not always return with interest that which has been entrusted to them, nor does the breeze always aid the veering barks. What pleases lovers is but a little, 'tis much more that crosses them. Let them resolve to endure many things with their feelings. As many as are the hairs on Athos, 961 as the bees that feed on Hybla, 962 as the berries which the azure-colored tree of Pallas bears, as the shells on the seashore, so many are the pangs of love, the shafts which we endure are reeking with plenteous gall. She, whom perchance you shall see, will be said to have gone out of doors. Believe that she is gone out of doors, and that you make a mistake in your seeing. Is the door shut against you on the appointed night? Endure even to lay your body on the dirty ground. Perhaps, too, the lying maid will say with a haughty air, "Why is that fellow blocking up our door?" Suppliantly entreat even the doorposts of the obdurate fair, and place at the door the roses that have been taken from off your head. 963 Come when she desires it, when she shall shun you, you'll go away. It is not becoming for men of good breeding to cause weariness of their company. Why should your mistress be able to say of you, "There is no getting rid of this man"? The senses 964 are not on the alert at all hours. And deem it no disgrace to put up with the curses of the fair one, or her blows, nor yet to give kisses to her delicate feet. But why dwell upon trifles? Let my mind be occupied with greater subjects. Of great matters will I sing. People, give all attention. I attempt an arduous task, but merit there is none. But what is secured by arduous means? By my undertaking are laborious attempts required. Endure a rival with patience, the victory will rest with yourself, you will be the conqueror on the heights of mighty Jove. 965 Believe that not a mortal tells you this, but the Pelasgian oaks of Dodona. My skill has nothing superior to this to teach you. Does she make a sign to him? Do you put up with it? Does she write? Don't you touch the tablets? Let her come from whatever place she likes, and wherever she chooses, let her go. This do husbands allow to their lawful wives, even it too, when thou, gentle sleep, 966 dost come to thy duty. I confess that in this art I myself am not yet perfect. What must I do? I am myself unequal to my own precepts. And is anyone in my presence to be making signs to my mistress? And am I to endure it? And is not my anger to hurry me away to any extreme? Her own husband 967, I remember it well, gave her a kiss. I complained of kisses being given. My love is brimful of fierceness. Not once alone has this failing proved an injury to me. He is more skillful, by whose encouragement other men visit 968 his mistress. But 'tis still better to know nothing of it. Allow stealthy intrigues to lie concealed, lest the blush of confession should fly in future from her countenance when detected. With greater reason then, ye youths, forbear to detect your mistresses. Let them be guilty, and guilty, let them suppose that they have deceived you. When detected, the passion increases. When the fortune of the two is the same, each persists in the cause of the disgrace. There is a story told, very well known in all the heavens, how Mars and Venus 969 were caught by the contrivance of Mulciber. Father Mars, distracted by a frantic passion for Venus, from a terrible warrior, became a lover. Neither did Venus, for, indeed, no goddess is there more kind, proved coy or stubborn to Gradivus. Oh, how many a time is she said, in her wantonness, to have laughed at the feet of her husband, and at his hands, hardened with the fire or his handicraft. In the presence of Mars, mocking him, she imitated her husband, and she was beauteous even while so doing, and many a grace was there combined with her charms. But they were in the habit of skillfully concealing their early intercourse, and their frailty was replete with modest propriety. Through the information of the sun, who is there that can deceive the sun, the actions of his wife became known to Vulcan. "Thou son, what a bad example thou art setting! Ask a bribe of her, and shouldst thou hold thy tongue, she has a favor which she may grant to thee." Around and above the bed, Newlybird disposes the hidden toils, the work, by its fineness, escapes their eyes. He pretends a journey to Lemnos, the lovers come, according to the appointment, entangled in the toils, they both lie naked. He calls the gods together, the captives afford a spectacle. People believe that Venus could hardly restrain her tears. They cannot conceal their faces, they cannot, in fact, veil their modesty with their hands. Upon this, one says, laughing, 970 transfer to me thy chains, most valiant Mavers, if they are a burden to thee. With difficulty, Neptune, at thy entreaty, does he release their captured bodies. Mars makes for Thrace, 971 and she for Paphos. 972 This, Vulcan, was done by thee, what before they used to conceal, they now do more openly, since all modesty is gone. Yet often, foolish one, dost thou confess that thou didst act unwisely, and they say that thou hast repented of thy wrath. This I have already forbidden, lo! Dion forbids you to suffer that detection which she herself endured. And do you arrange no toils for your rival, and intercept no words written by the hand in secret? Let the men seek for those, if, indeed, they think they ought to be sought for, whom the fire and water render 973 lawful husbands. Behold! Again do I protest, no sportive subject is here treated of, but what is permitted by the laws, there is no matron concerned with my sallies. 974 Who would dare to publish to the profane the rites of Ceres, 975 and the great mysteries that were established in the Thracian Samos? 'Tis a small merit to hold one's silence upon matters, but, on the other hand, 'tis a grievous fault to speak of things on which we should be silent. Oh, justly does it happen, that the blabbing Tantalus is thirsting in the midst of the water, the apples on the tree being caught by him in vain. Cytherea especially bids her rights to be concealed. I recommend no talkative person to approach them. If the mysteries of Venus are not enclosed in chests, 976 and the hollow cymbals do not resound with frantic blows, although among ourselves they are celebrated by universal custom, yet it is in such a manner that among us they demand concealment. Venus herself, as oft as she lays her garments aside, conceals her groin with the left hand, 977 a little bent back. The cattle couple in public and promiscuously, even when this is seen, full oft the fair one turns away her face. Chambers and doors are provided for our stealthy dalliance, and our nakedness lies concealed by garments placed over it. And if we do not require darkness, still we do something of a retired shade, and something less exposed than open day. In those times, even, when tiles did not as yet keep out the sun and the shower, but the oak was affording both shelter and food, in the groves and caves, and not in the open air, were shared the delights of love. So great was the regard for modesty, even in a savage race. But nowadays we give praises to the exploits of the night, and nothing beyond the power of talking of it, is purchased at a heavy price. 978 You will, forsooth, be discussing all the damsels in every quarter, that you may say to every person, she, too, has been mine, that none may be wanting for you to point it with your fingers, and as you touch upon each, there will be a scandalous tale. But I am complaining of trifles, some pretend things, which, if true, they would deny, and not declare that there is not a woman from whom they have not received the last favor. If they cannot meddle with their persons so far as they can, they meddle with their names, and, their persons untouched, their reputation bears the blame. Go now, odious keeper, and shut the doors of the fair, and add to the solid doorposts 100 bars. What safety is there, while the defiler of character exists, and desires to be thought that he is that which it has not proved his lot to be? Even my real amours I confess but with reserve, and my secret intrigues are concealed with sure fidelity. Especially forbear to censure the blemishes of the fair, to many it has proved of advantage to conceal them. Her complexion was not made an objection against Andromeda by him, on whose 2 feet were the waving wings. 979 To all others Andromache seemed of larger stature 980 than was becoming, Hector was the only one who called her of moderate size. What you endure with impatience, accustom yourself to, and you will endure it with patience. Length of time makes many things endurable, but a rising passion catches sight of everything. While the young branch is uniting within the green bark, 981 whatever breeze shakes it while now tender, it falls. Soon, hardened in time, the same tree will stoutly resist the winds, and bear the adopted fruit. Time itself removes all blemishes from the person, and what was a fault, in lapse of time ceases so to be. The nostrils that are unaccustomed to it, are not able to endure the hides of bulls, the odor is not perceived by those that have been rendered used to it in length of time. We may palliate faults by names, let her be called swarthy, whose blood is blacker than the pitch of Illyria. If she has a cast in the eyes, she is like Venus, if yellow-haired, like Minerva. She that is only half alive through her leanness, let her be graceful. Whatever woman is small, say that she is active, her that is gross, call plump, and let each fault lie concealed in its proximity to some good quality. And don't you inquire what year she is now passing, nor under what consulship 982 she was born, a privilege which the rigid censor 983 possesses. And this, especially, if she is past the bloom of youth, and her best years 984 are fled, and she now pulls out the whitening hairs. This age, O youths, or even one more advanced, has its advantages, this soil will produce its crops, this is worth the sowing. While strength and years permit, endure labor, soon will bending old age come with silent foot. Either cleave the ocean with the oars, or the earth with the plough, or turn your warlike hands to cruel arms, or devote your strength and your attention to the fair. This, too, is a kind of warfare, 985 this, too, seeks its advantages. Besides, in these 986 there is a greater acquaintance with their subject, and there is long practice, which alone renders skillful. By attention to dress they repair the ravages of years, and by carefulness they cause themselves not to appear aged. Aut velis, venerum jungent per mil figuras. Inveniat plures nulla tabella modos. Illis sentitur non irritata voluptas. Quod juvat, ex equo semina verc ferent. Odii concubitus, ca non utrumque resolvent. Hoc est, cur pueri tangar amore minus. Odii quae prebet, quia sit prebera necess. Sicac de lana cogitat ipsa sua. Quae dater officio, non est mihi grata voluptas. Officium faciat nulla puella mihi. Mi voces audire juvat sua gaudia faces. Aut morer memet, sustiniamque roget. Aspicium demens victos amens ocellos. Languit, iti tangi si vetet ilia dio. Those advantages has nature given not to early youth, which are wont to spring up soon after 7 times 5 years 987 have passed. Those who are in a hurry, let them drink of new wine, for me let the cask, stored up in the times 988 of ancient consuls, pour forth the wine of my ancestors. No plain tree but a mature one is able to withstand Phoebus, the shooting grass, 989 too, hurts the tender feet. And could you, forsooth, have preferred Hermione 990 to Helen? And was Gorge 991 more attractive than her mother? Whoever you are that wish to enjoy matured passion, if you only persevere, you will obtain a fitting reward. Conscius ecce duos accipit lectus amantes. Ad thalami clauses, musa, resist fors. Spon sua, sine te, siloberrima verba locenter. Nec manus in lecto laiva jaspid inners. Invenient digiti, quod agent in partibus illis. In cabus occult spicula figit amor. Fecit in Andromache prius hoc fortissimus Hector. Nec solum bellus utuus file fiut. Fecit et in capta learnside magnus Achilles. Cum premerit malum lassus ob host torum. Illis, t tangi manibus, brise, signba. In beauty Phrygia quae nis semper errant. En feud hoc ipsum, quod te lasciva juveret. Ad tua victrices membra venire manus? Creed mihi, non est generis properanda voluptas. Sed sensim tarda prolicienda mora. Cum loca repararis, quae tangif semina gadet. Non obstat, tangas quo minus ilia, puter. Ad spicix oculos tremulo fulgor micantes. Ut sola licita sep refulget aqua. Accedent questus, accedit amable murmur. Ite dulces gemitus, aptake verba loco. Sed nec tu dominum velis majoribus usus. Design, nec cursus antit ilia tuas. Ad metum properate simul, turn plena voluptas. Cum parator victi fomina verc jacent. Hi tibi servandus tenor est, cum laburadanter. Ostia, furtivum nec timor urgit opus. Cum mora non tuta est, totis incumbra remus. Util, iti admiso subdir calcar equo. There is an end now of my task, grant me the palm, ye grateful youths, and present the myrtle garlands to my perfumed locks. As great as was Podalirius 992 among the Greeks in the art of healing, as the descendant of Aeacus with his right hand, as Nestor with his eloquence, as great as Calchas 993 was in soothsaying, as the son of Telamon was in arms, as Automedon 994 was in guiding the chariot, so great a lover am I. Celebrate me as your bard, ye men, to me repeat my praises. Let my name be sung throughout all the earth. Arms have I given to you, to Achilles Vulcan gave arms. With the gifts presented to you, prove victorious, as he proved victorious. But whoever subdues the Amazon with my weapons, let him inscribe upon his spoil 995, Nasa was my preceptor. And lo! The charming fair are asking me to give them my precepts. You then shall be the next care of my song.